Hello, 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 beautiful souls. Hello, hello. Welcome to today. Welcome, 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 everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It's so exciting if you are watching the live, right live. If you're watching the replay, right replay, so I know who is tuning in. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, everyone, for just showing up another day. Today is going to be a beautiful live that we're going to have. It's not going to be very long today. My intent is to try to keep it under 20 minutes to make it super potent, super good, super helpful, and then get you guys on your way to work through your greatest challenges in your life. So everyone, welcome to today. I'm so grateful for all of you guys to be here, and just congratulations on making another day on planet Earth. Energies are intense and you are doing great. You are doing fantastic. And if no one's told you today they are proud of you, I'm proud of you. I see you. I appreciate you. I appreciate all that you're doing on this planet, whether you are working or you are staying home or you're fighting sickness or illness or fighting your mental chatter or your emotional chatter or your relationship chatter. You're doing it. You're doing it. And you're doing enough. I know so often we feel like we're not doing enough, but I'm here to reflect. As your reflection, you're doing fine. So we are going to dive right in, guys. Today we are talking about how do we deal with the difficult people in our lives that don't want to change. And this was inspired to me yesterday. I'm going to tell you the story of how today's topic came about. But before we dive in, let's just take a couple of deep breaths, settle into this moment, close your eyes, and just rest for a moment. This is one of my great tools in my toolkit before you start any interaction. To just take a moment to breathe, a moment to just land here. So whatever you're doing before this moment, just close down your eyes. And just give yourself just a minute to just land in this moment. And take a deep breath in through your nose, holding the breath at the top, and then breathing out. And breathing in again, big deep breath in. And a big deep breath out. Taking one more breath, allowing it to fall from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. Breathing in and breathing out. And just allow yourself to fall into this place, relaxing your mind, your face, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your heart, your belly, your pelvis, your bum, the legs, your feet. And just take another big, huge, deep breath in. Biggest breath you've taken today. Hold it. And then big sigh out. And allow yourself to rest. And whenever you're ready, just setting your intention for this moment to learn, to grow, to evolve, to expand. And open up your eyes and come into this space. All right, everyone. So welcome to today. It is my honor to serve you guys as always. And I'm honored to just really serve you, to really help you. You know, I truly believe that the only way that we're going to expand our consciousness is to serve one another. And so this is my gift to you guys every week, to just serve you. Whether it's a 20-minute just quick live like today will be, or an hour-long or a 2-hour-long workshop. My intent is always to just serve you guys. And so I appreciate you guys for showing up. And so today we were talking about how do we deal with the difficult people in our lives, the people who don't want to change. And so this topic was brought to me yesterday because I was talking to someone, and I was talking to someone who was talking to me about how her partner refuses to change, and how he won't do this and he won't do that, and he won't help himself, and she's stuck by his side. And as she spoke, I just sat there and, loving kindness, holding her heart, holding her in the compassion. And then I reflected back at her this idea where I simply said to her, what if you just love and accept him just as he is? What if you just love and accept him for just what he is? Instead of trying to change him, instead of trying to make him different, simply loving and accepting him. And so that's how I would like to start today, by encouraging all of us to start to love and accept the challenging people in our lives. And I understand that that's easier said than done. Oh, how easy said than done, right? But it can't be done. Every single one of us, at the core of us, we want to be loved. We want to be accepted. Put in the chat, do you want to be loved? Do you want to be accepted? Hello, we do. And I didn't wake up today, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't wake up today and say, I really hope I meet someone that's going to tell me that I need to be better at my business, and I need to change my voice, and I need to change the way I look and change my body. No, I didn't. I woke up today saying, I just want to be loved and accepted for who I am. And in being loved and accepted for who we are, that's when we are able to change. If someone is picking at us and stabbing us and telling us we need to change and we're not good enough, we're never going to change, because it's going to affect our self-esteem. It's going to knock us down and make us feel like we're not good enough. It's the same for the people in our lives. If we continue to tell them, whether we mean to or not, you need to get off the drugs. You need to be better at cleaning. You're a mess. You need to stop behaving this way. You need to stop driving so fast. You need to pay better attention to your bills. You need to be more responsible. Are you going to become responsible? Are you going to get off the drugs? Are you going to start respecting me better? Are you going to stop abusing that partner? Take the worst of the worst situation, okay? If we keep hurting people who are hurting people, we're going to continue to cause a lot more hurt than's happening. So what if we loved the drug addict instead? What if instead of making the drug addict feel bad about being a drug addict, we simply just had the love that God, source, spirit, the universe, environment has for that person, and we accept them, not accepting them from the place of enabling them, not enabling the drugs, right? If you're dealing with someone who's physically abusive, not enabling them to become more physically abusive, but accepting the fact that whoever they are today, they became that based off of a trauma or a past or an instant that happened, and accepting that they are who they are because something in the past happened, because they became who they were, because they didn't feel loved, because they didn't feel accepted. And because they didn't feel loved, and because they didn't feel accepted by their partner, by their parents, by the kids in the schoolyard and elementary school, they felt that they had nowhere to turn to other than drugs. Drugs became their only way to cope. I'm using drugs as an example. So instead of trying to ask someone to change from a place of they're not good enough, encouraging them to say, I'm going to love you no matter what. I'm going to accept that you are who you are because. And in that, in the love, in the acceptance, people choose to change if they want to change. People do not change because you want them to change. People change because they want to change. You have never in your life and all of your growth and evolution, tell me if I'm wrong, have changed because someone told you you needed to change or you had to change. You changed because you wanted to change. People don't change because you want them to change. People change because they want to change. And people are only willing to change, people are only willing to grow and expand when they feel safe to do so. When they feel like they can be supported in their change. If you're dealing with someone who's a drug addict, it's really scary to be on drugs for however long you've been on drugs. I'm using this example. And then think about, how do I handle life without the drugs? How do I do that? Well, you do that when you know that you have the support, that you can be held, that you can be accepted, that you can be validated throughout it all. We change when we feel we have the support and the love and the acceptance. If you are dealing with someone who is difficult to deal with, I want to encourage you to know that everyone outside of us is our reflection. They are our reflection. So if there's an aspect that we don't like in someone, that we want them to change, it's because that is telling us there is something internally within us that needs to that we feel we need to change. So the example of the person who came to me yesterday, this started because she said that her partner doesn't have teeth. Long story short, her partner doesn't have teeth. And so she had said something like that she didn't want to show up with him without teeth. That's how this whole conversation started yesterday. She said she was waiting until he got teeth. And then I had said, what if you just loved and accepted him for who he is? But that idea of her being self-conscious to show up with her partner without teeth is an indicator that she might be self-conscious about her own looks. And I know this woman. I know she's self-conscious about her own teeth. I know she's self-conscious about her own looks. So by her pointing the finger and saying, you need to look better, that's her telling herself, I need to look better. But it's a hell of a lot easier to point the finger at someone else than to do the inner work sometimes. To say, oh, maybe that's active within me. So every single thing that we see outside of us that we want to change in someone else is really just something that we want to change within ourselves. It's just something we want to change within ourselves. Nothing can bother us unless it's active within us. Because everything in this reality is a mirror. It's a reflection to our own soul. You can see things that aren't active within you, but it can't irk you, it can't upset you, it can't make you mad, it can't bother you unless it's within you. And so the way in which we get people to change is by changing ourselves. Looking at that thing that's bothering you about the other person, asking, how could this be relevant within myself? What is it about them that is similar to how I feel about myself? It's deep shadow work. It's deep shadow work that we have to do. And people do change. But the way we get them to change is by first changing ourselves. By first looking at the inner reflections of what's active within us. And then looking at what's active within us and not immediately changing it, but loving and accepting that part of us. So the woman that I'm talking about, if I was to, what I would advise her is to ask her, where was it active within you that you might be self-conscious about yourself, about your looks, about your body, about your teeth? And she would say, I'm self-conscious about my body. And then I would ask, how can you love and accept that within yourself? So the next step is locating what's active within us that we're seeing the reflection outside of us. And then loving and accepting that part of us. So for me, for example, I'm currently working through trying to lose a little bit of weight. And I'm looking at how to lose weight, not from a place of condemning myself, not from a place of making myself feel bad about myself, not from a place of putting myself down, but by loving and accepting that this is my body. This is how I am. For some reason, this extra weight on my belly has served me. And if I pinpoint why this might serve me, it's because when I was a teenager, I had these big boobs, right? And I got a lot of attention from men. And if you don't know, I went through my very first time having sex. I was raped. And this pattern continued there's a point to this story. I continued to be sexually abused. And at one point, I wanted to stop being attractive to men. So because I thought if I was not attractive to men, that I would stop being sexually abused. And that's when I started to put on weight. That's when I started to gain weight. I didn't do that consciously. I didn't consciously say, oh, I want to gain weight. But when I look back, when I do the shadow work, I can pinpoint I started to gain weight when I got sexually abused. And my belly, my extra weight, was a way of protecting myself from men abusing me. So having the gentle kindness, loving and accepting us for how we are, and having the loving acceptance to say, I am this way because for some reason it served me. If you're struggling with drugs, loving and accepting the part of you that does drugs, and recognizing that those drugs were maybe a coping mechanism for you to cope with life, or your partner if they're struggling with drugs. Recognizing that's the coping mechanism because at one point they didn't know how to do it without it. That was a way that they got through life. If you're dealing with someone that's physically abusive, I once was in a very physically abusive relationship. So I speak from example, my teachings, my knowledge isn't coming from anywhere, but it's coming from the toolbox of my own life that I've lived. I left a relationship with 2 black eyes and bruises all over my body. And the way that I got out of that relationship, it took me time, was loving him as much as I could love him and accepting him as much as I could accept him. I was not accepting him beating me. I was not accepting the behavior of being abused, just for the record. But I was accepting the fact that every time he hit me, it was his way of protecting himself in his childhood. He had grown up with a very violent childhood. And every punch as a child protected him from getting hurt. It protected him physically. It protected him emotionally. And so that became his coping mechanism to defend himself from getting hurt. It doesn't justify the behavior, although it allows me to accept that's why he is the way that he is. And in loving him and in accepting that's why he became what he is, not accepting the behavior, it allowed me to finally get away from him. I don't know if he changed because I left and never talked to him again. But when we love and accept the parts of ourselves. And let me notice this too. I had to, in that situation with the abusive partner, he was probably the love of my life up until my now fiance. I had to love and accept the part of me that was allowing me to stay in an abusive relationship. I had to love and accept the part of me that still stayed even though I had two black eyes. I had to love the part of me that was a lover and loved him. And I had to accept the part of me that was such a romantic person that I wanted it to work. I thought I could change him, but instead I had to change myself. And so when we change ourselves, when we do the internal work, the outside will change, because everything is a vibrational match to us. And nothing outside of us can change unless we change the internal within us. And so, the way in which we deal with the difficult people who don't want to change is by looking at where is it active within us. Where is this trait, this characteristic that really irks me with this person? Where might I see it in myself? Then having the loving compassion and empathy to choose to love and accept yourself. And then if you choose to change, changing from the place of not, I need to change because I'm not good enough, not changing from the place I'm too fat, or I'm not good, or I'm too big, or I'm not enoughness. Instead of changing from not enoughness, changing from the place of, I want to change because I want to grow and I want to evolve. I want to be healthier. I'm changing my weight right now, but I'm changing my weight right now by loving and accepting my body for what it is and choosing that I want to be healthier, choosing that I want to look better from a place of empowerment instead of a place of disempowerment. When we choose to change, we want to change from a place of empowerment, not from a place of disempowerment. Choosing to change from a place of loving and accepting ourselves. And once we can do the internal work to love and accept ourselves, we can then do the outer work to then either our reality will change, that partner, that difficult person in our life will naturally change because you've changed. Because the most powerful way for someone to change is by you being a way shower, by you leading by example, that you're willing to change, evolve, and grow for yourself. It's super sexy when you're willing to change. You don't even need to tell someone to change. Just change yourself, and they're going to want to change too. And then encouraging them not to change from a place of disempowerment, but loving and accepting them for everything that they are, and letting them know that you support them, you love them, you accept them, no matter what. And again, this is not to be confused with accepting bad behavior. I am not condoning you accepting being hit or accepting someone treating you poorly, but accepting that they are the way that they are because they are the way that they are. And people do change. It is my promise to you. People do change. People can change. I promise you. So if you are in a relationship with someone right now and you're really struggling with conflict and you're wanting the relationship to change and them to change and yourself to change, I promise it can change. I promise. I'm living proof of it. I'm now engaged. I'm not wearing my ring right now, but people do change. When I met my partner, let's just say he was a very different person. Let's just say he had many addictions. Let's just say he really struggled in his body. And that's no longer active. it's no longer active. And the way in which he changed was by me showing him, I love you and I accept you for who you are. And I'm going to hold your hand. And I'm going to support you while you try to get off your addictions. I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to love and accept you throughout this. I'm not going to condemn you. I'm going to love and accept you. And in that love and in that acceptance, he chose to change. He chose that. I couldn't make him do that, but he chose that. And he chose that because he felt that he could. He felt that he had the support and the love. So, the way in which we help people to change is by loving and accepting ourselves first and loving and accepting them just as they are. Whew. Let me know if that resonated in the chat with you guys. Let me know if that helped you guys today. Let me know if that motivated you guys today. Let me know if that encouraged you guys today. And I just thank you guys for being willing to change in growth and expansion. And you're doing great. You're doing really, really, really great. And so I want to let you guys know 10 days from now, February 18th, I am doing a completely free mastermind. There's no cost. This is for couples. It's a couples workshop. And it's, hold on, give me one minute. I'm going to drop it in the chat. So this mastermind is called Make Love End War. And it's all about just that. It's about how can we come back to love? How can we come back to union? How can we come back and accept and resolve the conflict? It's a beautiful free mastermind for your couple and you. We're going to dive deep into solving conflict, communicating better, developing deeper states of intimacy, more love, more growth, more expansion. It's going to be a hands-on workshop. It's not going to be just me talking. It's going to be you working with your partner in a workshop, figuring out how to resolve the conflict before the conflict rises. Because the truth is, conflict resolution happens before the conflict rises. The best way to solve conflict is to set a foundation of how to resolve the conflict, what the other person needs, what you need when conflict rises. Because relationships happen. But I can promise you guys something. I'm now engaged, and I can honestly say me and my partner, we don't fight. Me and my partner do not fight. We disagree, but we don't fight. We don't yell at each other. We don't raise our voice. We don't argue. And it is my promise to you, you can have a relationship that is peaceful. You can disagree peacefully. So, I dropped that in the comments. I hope this helped today, guys. If you have any questions, any ideas on future masterminds, extra words, workshops that you guys want, drop it in the chat. And I'll be doing this every Wednesday. So guys, I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you guys have a beautiful day.